Sarin sat on the edge of his couch, staring at the faint crack running across the living room wall, trying to understand where everything in his life had shifted. He had always believed he and his girlfriend, Nami, were stable in the quiet way some couples are. Steady dinners, shared shows, small jokes about who would wash the dishes. Nothing dramatic, nothing explosive. Just normal. Before I go on, take a second to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Some stories teach us, some heal us, and this one might do both. That's why it surprised him how fast unease settled in after she met his closest friend. That night replayed in his mind more often than he liked to admit. He had watched Nami laugh a little too brightly, smooth her hair a little too often, lean in every time Caro spoke as if she needed to inhale his words. At first, Sarin told himself it was nothing. People acted differently around new faces. But he couldn't forget the tone of her voice later in the car. "Your friend is really something," she had said, her eyes still glowing in a way they never had for him. Sarin had nodded, trying to stay calm. Everyone liked Caro. He was successful, sharp, and carried himself with the confidence of someone who always belonged. But Sarin never imagined that admiration would twist into comparison. Then attachment. Then something far more painful. The shift became impossible to ignore within days. Nami started asking questions about Caro that had nothing to do with courtesy. Where did he study? Does he travel much? Does he have someone in his life? Her tone carried a quiet hunger she didn't even try to hide. Sarin would answer gently, pretending not to notice how her eyes drifted with interest at every detail. One evening while they watched a movie, she whispered, "Caro would probably love this film. He seems thoughtful." Sarin tried to laugh, but the sound caught in his throat. Another time at dinner she murmured, "Caro dresses better than you. I like his confidence." That one stung. He set down his spoon slowly and breathed through the sharp, cold ache rising inside him. He didn't argue. He only wondered when admiration had turned into comparison, and when comparison had turned into desire. Sarin didn't fear Caro's behavior. Caro had always been a loyal friend, the type who never crossed lines and never flirted with what wasn't his. What Sarin feared was the quiet truth settling behind Nami's words. She was no longer looking at him with the eyes of a partner. She was studying the outline of a new option. One Thursday night, as they ate noodles at his small kitchen table, Nami commented again on Caro's presence, and something inside Sarin finally steadied. He didn't shout. He didn't tremble. He simply looked at her and asked, "Do you have feelings for him?" The room went painfully still. Nami blinked fast as if he had torn open a curtain she hoped he hadn't noticed. "What? No, if you're truly that impressed," Sarin said quietly, "maybe you should pursue him instead." She didn't deny it. "Not really." She only asked, "Would you be okay with that?" Sarin's stomach twisted but his voice stayed calm. "I won't force someone to stay where they don't want to be." Nami sat there long enough for the silence to bruise the room. Then she nodded as if she were relieved he had freed her. "Caro is more the type of man I see myself with," she whispered. The bluntness stole his breath, but he didn't try to win her back. He stood, walked to the door and said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." She left without looking back, her shoes tapping a small farewell he knew he'd remember for too long. After she left, Sarin sent Caro a direct message. "Just a warning, Nami and I ended things. If she reaches out, ignore it. I don't want you dragged into this." Caro replied within seconds, "You know me. I won't entertain nonsense." And Sarin believed him. For the first time in days, he exhaled deeply. He felt bruised, yes, but not broken. Friends kept telling him he should have fought for her or taken her to therapy or surprised her with flowers or something dramatic. But Sarin saw no point in wrestling someone back into affection. A person who thinks they've found an upgrade rarely looks back with sincerity. 5 days later, the mess began in earnest. Caro called Sarin and didn't even greet him before saying, "She already texted me." Sarin dropped into his couch. "You're kidding. Wish I was." She started with a message about wanting to talk about you, Then it shifted to wanting to know me better. I left her on read. Saren rubbed his forehead. She's not letting this go. Caro sighed. She's treating you like a former subscription and treating me like an upgrade plan. Saren laughed despite himself. That's exactly what it feels like. Over the next few days, Caro kept updating him. Nami began liking 15 of Caro's photos at once, reacting to every story, asking if her outfit looked professional, sending a posed picture that was less about work attire and more about invitation. Caro responded with one-word replies or none at all. She's exhausting, he texted Saren alongside screenshots. Then things escalated. She discovered which cafe Caro visited each morning and appeared there with a too casual smile. The moment Caro saw her through the window, he simply turned around and walked to another cafe. She's chasing an idea of me, he told Saren afterward. Not me as a person. Friends began weighing in. Rumors started spinning, mainly shaped by Nami. She told people she and Saren wanted different things, that she was exploring connections, and that Caro was interested but cautious. When Saren's friend Sorrel overheard and confronted her saying, "You checked out the second you saw someone shinier," Nami claimed attraction wasn't her fault. "You can't help who you connect with," she snapped. Sorrel later texted Saren, "She's delusional. Just thought you should know." The breaking point came at Caro's gym. Nami approached him between sets, pretending not to notice how uncomfortable he looked. "Hey, I didn't know you worked out here," she said, smiling too widely. Caro told Saren the entire story later from his car. "She asked me to grab a smoothie after. I told her I was busy." Saren asked, "And what did she say?" "She said I'm always busy when she asks, as if we had a relationship already." Then Caro told her directly, "Nami, I'm not interested. Please stop." She had stared at him in shock, unable to understand rejection. "But why?" she asked. His answer was simple. "Because you broke up with my friend to chase me." That night, Nami messaged Saren for the first time since the breakup. "Did you tell Caro not to talk to me?" Saren stared at the phone for a moment before replying. "I told him we broke up and not to get dragged into drama. He makes his own choices." She insisted Caro was being cold because Saren poisoned him. Saren actually laughed. "Or maybe he's just not interested," he wrote. "You dumped your partner to chase his best friend. That's not jealousy. That's you misunderstanding loyalty." After that she fell silent. Saren updated Caro, who only sighed. "She really thought I'd betray you," he said. "For what?" "Someone I barely know." And as Saren sat there, phone glowing faintly, he realized he wasn't hurt anymore, just grateful. He had lost a girlfriend but kept the truth, and the truth was far kinder than the illusion he'd lived with. For a few days, things were strangely calm. Caro muted her on every platform, and Saren blocked her completely. He felt lighter, as if someone had untied a rope he didn't realize had been around his chest. But calm never lasts where denial still breathes. One afternoon Caro called and said, "We need to meet." They sat at a small cafe downtown. Saren noticed Caro's jaw tighten before he said, "She showed up again. This time at our old spot, the one you and I used to go to before she ever existed in your life." Saren winced. "She's not stopping." "She will," Caro said. "I'm done playing polite." 2 days later, while they ate lunch at the same cafe, Nami walked in again. Only this time, her expression wasn't hopeful. It was determined, almost possessive. She headed straight for their table. "Caro," she said, ignoring Saren entirely. "We need to talk privately." Caro didn't move. "Say it here." Her eyes flicked nervously toward Saren, then back at Caro. She tried soft sweetness. "I think there's been a misunderstanding between us. We'd be great together if you let me show you." Saren felt a cold disgust coil inside him. She wasn't even pretending anymore, just rewriting her own logic to suit the fantasy. Caro leaned back and folded his arms. "There's no misunderstanding," he said. "I'm not interested." Nami blinked fast, her face tightening. But why? She asked, voice rising slightly. We're similar. We have ambition. We have nothing in common, Caro cut in. You don't know me. You only know the version of me you invented because you didn't want to face what you lost. Saren could feel the whole cafe going quiet. People were listening. Nami's cheeks flushed red. You think you're better than him. You're just like Saren, always playing safe, never taking risks. Caro's expression sharpened. You dumped a good man because you thought you could upgrade to someone shinier. That's not attraction. That's transaction. And when I didn't bite, you stalked me, my gym, my cafe, my social media. You didn't chase me because you cared. You chased me because you wanted a prize you thought you deserved. Her mouth opened, then closed. I wasn't. You were, he replied. And it's embarrassing. Not for me. For you. She stood there trembling, shocked that someone finally told her the truth without cushioning it. Caro leaned forward slightly. Loyalty matters to me. Integrity matters to me. You have neither. So hear me clearly. I won't be interested today, tomorrow, next month, or ever. If you keep chasing me, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you've been doing. The words landed like iron. Nami froze, then turned and walked out of the cafe without a sound. Saren stared after her, not with sadness but with a clarity that felt like waking up from a long, foggy dream. His chest didn't hurt. His heart didn't break. Something had simply clicked back into place. Later that night, Saren received a message from a mutual friend. What happened at Morrison Cafe? She's telling everyone Caro humiliated her for no reason. Saren sent back the full truth. The friend replied, Good. She's been lying about everything. Says Caro was interested and taking things slow. Another message came minutes later from someone else. She's playing victim. People are starting to see through it. Saren wasn't angry. In fact, he felt nothing at all. Detachment had settled in like solid ground beneath him. Caro and Saren met again a week later. They had lunch, caught up on life, and laughed in the easy way old friends do. Then Caro said, There's something else. People in our circle are starting to distance themselves from her. They're tired of the lies. Saren stirred his drink lazily. She did this to herself. Caro nodded. You ever feel guilty? Saren shook his head slowly. No, not anymore. She wasn't mine long before she left me. She just didn't say it out loud. For the first time, Saren felt relief instead of loss. Then came the final spiral. Nami reached out to 3 of their mutual friends in one night. To one, she claimed Caro had led her on. To another, she claimed Saren had twisted the narrative. To a third, she said she was the real victim. Unfortunately for her, all 3 compared notes. The next morning, those same friends sent a group message. One that didn't include Nami. We're done with her, one wrote. She lies too easily, said another. You both deserve better people in your lives, the last added. Her entire social circle collapsed in less than 24 hours. That evening, Nami sent Saren one final message from a private number. You ruined everything for me. Saren read it once, then deleted it. No reply. No anger. No closure. She wanted a reaction, and he refused to give her even that. She had gambled her dignity on a fantasy, burned her relationship, disrespected a loyal man, tried to manipulate his best friend, and then lied to everyone when the fantasy collapsed. Now she was standing alone in the ruins she created, facing a truth she had spent years avoiding. She wasn't the prize she believed she was. The last thing Saren ever heard about her came weeks later, when a friend mentioned she had moved out of the city entirely. She said she needed a fresh start, the friend added. Saren only nodded. He didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. She wasn't a tragic figure. She wasn't a misunderstood soul. She was someone who tried to trade a loyal partner for a fantasy and lost both men in the process, along with her reputation, her friends, and the comfort of believing she was always the desired one. In trying to climb higher, she destroyed her own ladder. In chasing an illusion, she erased the reality she once had. And by the time she realized it, there was nothing left for her to return to. No mercy, no sympathy, just consequences, cold, sharp, and earned.